Hello, everyone. First of all, I think it's a great honor to be here in front of you all. And so I'll start with my introduction without taking much time. My name is Bhupesh Mehta. I was born in India, raised in a Jain family. I have learned and practiced Jainism as much as I can back in India and tried the same thing here. Before I get into what dharma is, I would like to actually give a background of what Jainism is so you get a perspective of what I'm talking about and how it is related. So, Jainism is a very ancient religion from India, and uh, so we have this Kal Chakra concept, and it has been there forever. Based on Jainism, the universe has been there forever. The substance never died, and the Jainism was also there forever. But for this Kal Chakra, we had 24 Tirthankars. Number one, the first one was Rishabdev, and the last one was Lord Mahavir, Bhagwan Mahavir. And we as Jains, we follow the teachings of the 24th Tirthankar, the last one among the 24, Lord Mahavir. The basic principles of Jainism are ahimsa, which is non-violence, aparigraha, which is non-possessiveness, anekantvad, which is non-absolutism. So the first principle, one of the questions that has been asked is what inspires us to do it, and to me, I think these core principles of Jainism are truly inspiring. The first principle being ahimsa. Bhagwan Mahavir, Lord Mahavir said, ahimsa paramo dharma. They said ahimsa is the supreme religion, supreme dharma. So, and ahimsa in Jainism is not just non-violence at a physical level, because every time we hear the word violence, we think about physical act. But in Jainism, it is taken to the depth where even hurting someone with your thoughts or words is also considered as a violent act. Because you have to first commit it over your head before you can commit it to the world. So non-violence has taken to a deeper level. In Jainism, we are not supposed to think of hurting someone with our thoughts, with our words, and with our deeds. So that's the first principle. The second principle is anekantvad, which is non-absolutism, and which gives us tolerance to hear different point of views of different people, because most of the conflict that arises in a community or among us is because we're not ready to hear the different point of views. I remember a short story, or I was in India back when I was in 8th grade, and one of the monks visited us, and I went to them and I asked them, why do we have this different, even in Jainism we have this different sects, and why do we have this different sects? And he gave me a beautiful explanation. He said, you have a structure, this building, IFC Center, and you take pictures from different angles. If you go and talk with the person who took the picture from the north angle and ask the other person on the south angle, he'll say, no, the building does not look like this. The building is actually like this. And the other person is going to say from the east, no, I saw the building. It does not have the black on the front. It has a stone front on the back front. And he said that it is where you stand and how you view is different. Jainism, the base concept of ahimsa paramo dharma, of non-violence, the teaching of Mahavira, is still the same. It's basically the viewpoints from different angles makes you think that they are different. And that is for all of the religion. All of the religion teaches us peace, harmony, but it's the way of your viewpoint, how you've been brought up, how you look at things is different. And that's the second biggest principle we have as anekantvad, which gives us tolerance to listen to different point of views. And the third principle is non-possessiveness. Even non-possessiveness is not just a material thing. You can acquire a lot of material things, but the problem is when you have your attachment towards those material things. So, for example, I read a story where his house got fire. His house was on fire, and he came out and yelling, my house is on fire, save my property, save my property. The fire brigade was there, and they were trying to turn off the fire. And his son came running and he said, "Dad, don't worry. We actually sold this property. We just sent out the contract to the realtor. I think we're good." And he had a sigh of relief. He was like, "Oh, thank God, you just sold it." And then the fire was still going on. The fire brigade was still, working on it, but he just sat down on the side. And the realtor heard that that there's a fire in that house. So the realtor, he came running and he said, "You are sitting quietly and your house is on fire." And he said, "Well, yeah, we just sold it, right?" He said, "No, we gave them the contract, but they haven't signed it." What happens the next moment? They started, crying again. "Oh, my house, my house." So the moral of the story is, in this world, anything that we have our attachment to causes us pain and suffering. Whether it is our family, our kids, our properties, our money. In fact, Jainism talks about attachment even to our belief systems, even to our ideas, causes pain and suffering. If someone comes and starts speaking bad about my religion, I get agitated, I get angry. It's because I have some kind of an attachment towards my religion. By someone saying bad, my religion is not going to get bad. So this non-possessiveness gives us a broader vision where you really don't have to attach yourself with anything. Moha, which is the attachment, is the king of all karmas in Jainism. And once we detach ourselves from this moha, from this worldly matter, even from our family and all that, I think that's when the soul rises high and attains moksha. So this is, in short, the three principles of Jainism. And now the question is, how did I get into this? As a kid, I said I was actually born in a Jain family. And as a kid, my mom told me to go to the Sunday school. We did that, but I was really not into it until I actually got into the college. When I got into the college, I started thinking, who am I? What is this happening? Is this real? How can I take few sounds, convert that into words, make them into sentences, and make a meaning out of that sentence? What is this magic that is happening here? And that bothered me a lot. I kept on thinking, why is sun like that? Why is water in that form? What is happening to me? And that's when I really got interested in Jainism. I started learning. That was the closest path that I had. And as I went deeper and deeper, I really felt this is the path that I should take, because it made sense not hurting anyone. It made sense not to be detached with things. You can have things, but the problem is with attachment. So when all these things made sense to me, I really got into it. And these questions that we have received, these are some of the questions that we had. In fact, we were talking about the same thing. These were the questions that I had. They were bothering me when I was in my college years. And I kept on thinking, why, and why? And what happens is, as we grow up, sometimes we lose that sight. We had this question when we were young, why is this happening? But then we have our family, we get into, making money, we lose that side. But I was blessed. My mom is very religious, and I was blessed that she kept me on track. And as of today, I'm still, a student trying to learn the real me and the purpose. So that's the background of me, how I got into Jainism and what Jainism is. Now, let's get into what the Dharma is according to Jainism. Bhagwan Mahavir said that the true nature of an object is Dharma. So usually in a Hindi language, we will say, "Is vastu ka dharma kya hai?" What is the properties of this object? So Bhagwan said the true nature of any object is Dharma. Like fire. The Dharma of fire is heat. The Dharma of sugar is sweetness. Similarly, the natural properties or the core properties of a soul is infinite peace, bliss, happiness, love, compassion. That's the core properties, that's the core Dharma of a soul. But then what happens is, as you take sugar and put it into different products, if you put it in milk, it loses its poreness and the taste gets differently. Our Atma, our soul, because of this influx of karmas, it gets polluted, it gets diluted, and we don't see the real peace in us. The path towards achieving peace is also dharma, but the literal meaning is the properties of the soul. Now, dharma is a word. It is interesting how we took the word dharma, because a simple word we can mean different things. So it can mean as a noun, as a verb. It can be a path. So in Jainism, we have 10 dharmas that are mentioned, which is like forgiveness, truthfulness, simplicity, penance. So there are 10 different paths that has been said in dharma, in Jainism, to attain moksha, to attain nirvana. And also, dharma is also said as a duty. What is the dharma of a layman? So in Jainism, we have two duties. One is for the layman and one is for the monks. It is anagar dharam and agar dharam. Agar dharam is for people like us who are still, living a life as a layman. But then we should limit ourselves with, so there is a scripture on what we should do. How should we live, minimize our living? How should we have a minimalistic living? So that's Shravak Dharma. And then we have Anagar Dharma, where the sadhus, they completely leave their household and they are completely dedicated towards, finding peace. So, as I said, dharma can mean different things. And so this is the perspective, the background of Jainism and what dharma means in Jainism. That's all I want to say.
So the first question that we're posing today has to do with the applications of dharma as it relates to peace. So the question is this: how can one pursue peace at the individual level through dharma? And how does this relate to the pursuit of communal peace?
So, I want to take a few things from individuals, and I think the question, right, of having peace. So let's think what takes you out of peace, right? So that you can contrast what you want. So the stress, anxiety, or the suffering, what is the cause of that you can take out so that you can get peace? That's the ultimate question. Now, as you mentioned, this world is ever changing and things change. But when we have attachment, that's where the problem is. This body is, we all know, we get reincarnated based on our dharma, but we get attached to our body. We get attached to our houses. We get attached to our families. And of our viewpoints. And I think the peace, so as you said, peace is a part of, it's the nature of the soul. So we are full of peace internally, but it's the karmas that is diluting us, as I said before. But the problem is the ragas and the dveshas. It is the liking and the dislikings. It is the ego. Let me just give you one example or one scenario. When you were born, what are you? There is no name attached to it. You are born. Who are you? You are just a being. Until we put a name to it, you are just a life. And that is all we are. We are life. But then we have this surrounding where we say, okay, you are Bhupesh. I grew up with my environment. I have to keep my image. I like this. I have to wear like this. I have to do this. I have likings, dislikings. All these attachments that gets into me, I lose who I am. I lose my being. These ragas and dveshas, the likings and dislikings, brings vibrations into the soul, and that is what causes stress. If someone says bad to me, I feel bad. Why do I feel bad? I lose my peace because I have attachment to my own ego. No one can tell me like that, right? But who am I? I'm just a being. If you take this out of me, if you take the body out of me, if you take my name tag out of me, if you just sit down and for 5 minutes realize, if you just take your whole Vignesh, you're no longer Vignesh, you're out of Vignesh. Take that Vignesh and put it on the side. Who are you? You are life full of peace, love, compassion. What happened when you put the hat of Vignesh? Now you have likings. I don't like this person. I don't like this guy. I don't like this color. What did the color do to you? Right? It's all in here. We are completely full of peace. It takes you 5 seconds to get into peace. Just take yourself. You know, the word is funny. We have yourself, human being. There's always two things. Being is the life part of it. We are the life part of it. And we keep forgetting that life part of it. And we get back to the human part of it, which is our physical being. And that's where we lose peace. So the best way to get back to peace is just remove yourself from this worldly thing for 5 minutes a day. And I totally agree with you. Our habits, we have been doing this for how many lives? Millions of years. There is a pull, a habit pull. Every time you do something, it takes you back to that state. And it's very hard to come out of it because we have practiced for so long, we have practiced things wrongly. It is very hard to come out of that spin. But practicing for 5 minutes, I'm sure, just tomorrow morning, sit down, take Vignesh out of you. Be what you are when you were born. Remove all the differences, all the likings and dislikings. Take it off. How should I look? How should I wear? Take it out. You are life form. When you get to that stage, you are complete peace. Because there is no conflict. So the conflict arises because of all this liking and disliking. The conflict arises because we have changed. This world is constantly changing. We're still trying to hold the change. Let it go. The concept of karma in our religion is so awesome. All these situations, that even this situation where I'm talking, you're here, it is because of the karmas. We have somehow accumulated this karma, and the karmas have arrived. The time has come that we're all here. In Jainism, we call it the sambandha. We all get together. It's all because of the karmas. Soul is full of peace. If you understand the karma concept, then when you are in a situation, if someone hurts you, it won't hurt you because you know it's my bad karma that I did in the past, and you will always remain in the peace. We should understand the concept of karma. We should understand how we are diluting ourselves by creating our own image. We are all birds inside, but we try to show I'm the king, I'm the lion, and we live all our life, throughout our life, trying to be the king, the lion or the king. In fact, we are just nice, beautiful butterflies. And I think that's the problem. Raga's dvesha has to be out, and eternal peace will surely come to you. And it needs a lot of practice because we have forgotten. The soul has left that part and it's all into the samsara. So to get back, you really have to practice every day to be just the consciousness, to be the being part of it. And I think at a communal level, so that is at the personal level. And this is all experience that you have to experience at a personal level. I cannot share my peace and tell you this is what peace is. It's my peace. You have to experience it. At the communal level, as Swamiji said, the conflict arises because of different point of views. And I think concepts like Anekantvad, like what we have in Hindu Dharma too, like trying to listen to what others say and not get attached to it will certainly bring peace. That's all I want to say.
But the question I'd like to make to the panel is, how do we apply what you just said in the arena of current events, public affairs? How do we not lose ourselves in the crisis that is slowly evolving before our eyes? On one hand, not to deny it, not to hide from it. On the other hand, not to also be consumed by it. And so my question is from a spiritual point of view, because ultimately this is a spiritual question. How in the world did we get here to this place? Is my first question. And second, how do we deal with it? Thank you.
So I'd like to just add, I like the last sentence that you said. Usually, sometimes we're also attached to the end result, what we want. And you totally have to do your karma, because the end result is not in your hands. You perform. One thing you stressed on is listening. I think if we learn to be tolerant, most of this conflict can be resolved just by listening, and I totally agree. I think we all have the same viewpoint as we don't even want to listen sometimes. We want to shout. We want to say, we don't want to listen. And I think just sitting down and listening, I think that's a key, I think, to resolve a lot of conflict. We have to stand for, anything that is happening wrong. One thing is, there has been conflict. If you take the history, there always been conflict. If you look at Indian history, we always had issues with the religion. That's the primary thing. We always have it. But these times are different. Even us as individual humans, individual people, we are not really very well educated on our religion, whatever we follow. The conflict arises when you don't understand the full religion. Half knowledge is dangerous. And that's where the conflict happens. And we cannot, most of people don't stand up because they say, oh, I don't know the whole thing. Modern times are different. We have lots of distractions. Our kids are not as we were, and they don't get time from their TV, cell phones, studying. Religion is given the last priority. And I think that has to change. We as parents, first of all, need to get educated. We need to get our kids, no matter what religion you follow, as long as they know the concept, as long as they know the religion, that will make them change. The world is going where it is, it's because of ignorance. We're losing the core and we're fighting for something that is for mostly ego or what I think is right. But I think the core studies of all religion is a whole piece. It's just having tolerance to listen to others. As at an individual level, we all need to contribute. We all need to make efforts to study, to learn our religion and stand up. If you don't know, you will never stand up because you have the fear of someone asking you. And so individual level, I think we all need to do that. I think that's when it is a gradual change that we can bring. It happened gradually. It's not that it happened today. It's been going on, as you said. And it will take us, it is our time for enlightenment here. I think this is the time that we should think, what are we doing? Like, are we just wasting time socializing and on entertainment? Should we go back to our culture, how we were? And I think it's the time where we now flip and go back, learn, educate ourselves about our religion, educate our kids. And I think we can go back to our state where we were. These differences are just because we're ignorant about the core concepts. That's what I feel.
So we wanted to move on to the category of subtleties within each religion. So is there an aspect of Dharma in the religious teachings you follow that many followers of your religion might interpret differently?
Yes. And Hinduism is well known for that. So when I'm coming and speaking to you on behalf of Hinduism, I'm speaking from a Vedantic, non-dualistic, Advaita Vedanta standpoint. And that too channeled through Ramakrishna Vivekananda. Whereas Hinduism is vast. So there are varieties of views on every aspect, almost every aspect of religion. Misunderstood, I wouldn't say so much within the tradition as outside it. Because the different understandings are accepted as true in their own place. So if somebody says God is with female form, I say perfect. Ramakrishna worshipped God as mother. Somebody says God is father. Perfect, if it works for you. It's only when you say only God is father and God cannot be mother, then I have an objection. You do not limit the infinite. So I think there are, for example, worship of images is an example. So no Hindu actually thinks that the wood or the stone or the metal is God or spirit. It is used as a symbol, as a way to channel your devotion. Also, that in Hinduism, the ultimate reality is transcendent and immanent. So you can worship the divinity in a particular form through an image or a picture or a symbol. And that's not taken as something terribly wrong. I think it's mostly misunderstood outside the tradition. Yes.
Yeah, I think even for Jainism, I think it's different paths. As I mentioned, even we have 10 dharmas, and people are, with their strengths, some get into bhakti marg, some get into dhyan marg, which is meditation, some into swadhyay, self-realization, some into reading. The ultimate goal is the same, but people, take different paths. Like if you want to go to New Jersey, you can take a toll road, no toll road, scenic view, or anything. But the ultimate goal is your destination. So people do follow different things to reach the goal. But what I hear from you, you're trying to ask, like, is it the same thing but followed differently? And yes, again, that is also, five fingers are not the same. Two twins, they're born, they're different. Back in the times, the knowledge, I don't know how much background you have about the Kal Chakra, where the morality actually fades out as the time goes. So during that time, the knowledge was at the peak, where they didn't have to write anything. It was from mouth to mouth. Someone said something, and they actually picked up everything. And then, as the morality went down, they started actually writing the scriptures. And when you are not enlightened, and when you translate, even when I'm saying something, you are actually hearing based on your perception about things that you've heard in the past. If I say Samyak Darshan, you won't even know what it is because you've never heard about it. But if you have heard, the moment I say something, your brain is constantly working, going into the background, bringing things, putting it together. So when you interpret things, you do it based on what you think is right. And that's where the divisions happen. People do have divisions. It is okay as long as the concept of, the core concept, as you said, if it's still the same, people are free to follow. Religion to me is actually at an individual level. Everyone has their own view on religion. Everyone has their own view of following things, which is okay as long as it falls into the core.
So in the Sikh tradition, the Guru is the Sri Guru Granth Sahib, which is 1,430 pages of sacred songs that span 400 years and many faiths. And there were 10 living masters between 1469 and 1708. And they were the living masters that established this path over 250 years, but the ultimate guruship is with the word. All Sikhs honor the Sri Guru Granth Sahib as the Guru. That's like the primary definition. Outside of that, you've got an incredible range of expressions of what it means to be a Sikh. You have the Nihangs, which hold the warrior tradition. You have the Nirmalas, which hold the scholarly tradition. You have the Udasis that have kind of a yogic aspect. You've got people who don't want to relate to the Nihangs, the Nirmalas, or the Udasis at all, and say none of them are Sikh. You've got the Taksal, which is a way of thinking about the Guru, a way of talking about the history. Now you've got, the Gora Sikhs, as we're called, the white Sikhs, and we do yoga, and that's a big controversy in the Sikh community, is whether Kundalini yoga is okay to do if you're a Sikh, and so there are differences, but to the extent that everyone relates to the Sri Guru Granth Sahib and the word, we're all together doing it.
Questions here?
All right, sorry, just before you ask the question, I just wanted to thank everyone for your patience and for your presence. We'll finish with this one question by this gentleman, and afterwards we'll all go downstairs, or we'll have 30 minutes or so of refreshments, and please feel free to talk with the panelists and express your questions or just talk to connect. Okay, thank you.
I wanted to thank all four of you for the great insight and the openness with which you have spoken about Dharma. And as I was listening to you, three particular thoughts came to me, which I would like for you to respond to or react to. The first one goes to given everything that was said tonight, goes to the title of this talk, which says, Discovering Peace and Unity Amidst Conflict and Division. If I remember my syntax correctly, the sentence would assume conflict and division as static, and peace and unity dynamic. And in my mind's eye, it ought to be reversed. It should say, discovering conflict and division amidst peace and unity, which would place greater emphasis on everything all of you have said, because really, it's like the shell that has the grain of sand out of it and makes a wonderful pearl that we all admire. The enveloping force is peace and unity, out of which we, even if we try to escape, we can't. It has a very firm embrace. The second thought I had, and it really goes to the question. I was listening very carefully to what you said, but going as far back as the Bhagavad Gita, coming forward to the Persian epic Shahnameh, even further forward to the German, the Song of the Nibelung, and to present time, the sequels of Star Wars and the Lord of the Rings, they all try to exemplify this duality of fight of light versus darkness. And in fact, it is, as you said about the crow, we really shouldn't be stuck in that duality. We should realize what we're doing when we try to do away with our shadow, recognize that there is a shadow, and figure out how to make it work. So, do you see that as well? Do you see this long, ancient human tradition going on? We are somehow obsessed with whom Arjuna is fighting and why, and how long, how many hundreds of thousands of people are getting killed on the battlefield. And now it has transcended into the public domain. We hear about it every day. And the last point I want to make is what you said about non-attachment. And to me, there seems to be a contradiction in terms. And the contradiction is that both in the three Abrahamic faith traditions, as well as in all of the four that you've represented, in my mind's eye, there seems to be the contradiction that you really can't love without being attached. Compassion, the word compassion, implies that you have the capacity to attach to someone else's suffering. And so, in the Jewish religion, Abraham is told, well, sacrifice your son. Would it have been different if Abraham had been told, sacrifice all the pairs of shoes or sandals that you have? Or sacrifice your neighbor's dog, because he has no attachment with it. Implicit in the notion of sacrifice, to my mind's eye, is attachment. But how we deal with that attachment really makes all the difference to me. So I appreciate your comments and thank you for listening to me. Appreciate it.
May I respond very quickly to the questions? The fight between light and darkness, dharma and adharma as it were, is something I think it is being superimposed upon the dharma traditions by an Abrahamic outlook. You see, that Arjuna and the Pandavas and Kauravas are fighting is just a setting for the Bhagavad Gita. If you look at the classical commentaries on the Bhagavad Gita, whether it's the Advaita commentary of Shankaracharya, the Vishishta Advaita commentary of Ramanuja, or of Madhva, or any of the commentaries that have succeeded since, none of them really dwell on the dharma and adharma aspect of it. They dwell on the underlying spirituality which is to be discovered, whether through non-dualism or through bhakti or through whatever. So I think at a fundamental level, the dharma traditions are non-dualistic. They resolve the dualisms which the Abrahamic faiths operate as, and I would say rebellion. They resolve it at the level of non-dualism. And for example, you spoke about after that, the second thing you mentioned was the Gita, and the other thing was?
The Shahnameh, the Book of Kings in the Persian.
Yes.
The Song of the Nibelung in German.
Yes. So there you see a strong tendency in dualism. Oh yes, the point you made about attachment and detachment, attachment and compassion. You see, you are right. In fact, what religions do teach you to do is to how to handle that attachment. And the very idea in the Dharmic traditions, I think we'll all agree, is when you talk about detachment, it's not a cold, non-attached kind of detachment. It's discovering where attachment limits you, detachment frees you from that, and then you discover your infinite, the infinity which lies beyond that. Sacrifice is a sacrifice of attachment, right? We are giving up that which you are attached to, and that frees you from that attachment. So I think that emphasis on detachment and emphasis on attachment on the other hand, we are talking about the same thing, coming at it from two different perspectives. Thank you.
I just want to say something about attachment. I agree with much of what you've said, and thank you for your comment. My father is 89 years old and terminally ill, and I adore him, and he's going to die, just as everybody I love is going to die. And I love them, and I am not asked to not love them. What I am asked to do is to cultivate some equanimity, knowing that this form is impermanent. And yet, they are not ever separate from me. Right? So my father is woven into the very fabric of my being. So our relationship will change, but I will still be in relationship with him, just as I am with my late mother. Right? So it's not that, loss is a part of love. It's a part of the nature of reality. So what I can try to do is cultivate some equanimity in the face of that, and let my grief come, and let my grief go, and let this grief break my heart open to others, so that it's a source of connection, because it is one of the few things that every human being has in common with every other human being: grief and joy, and peace, perhaps, the capacity for peace.
I just want to add about the attachment and the detachment and the love you talk about. When you start seeing every human, every living as a soul, that's where your love is. When you see someone in their current form, you have attachment. So anything, and the simple thing is, if you have something, if you lose and you don't mind, you're detached. If you have something, you want to hold to it, your mind, your soul is vibrating for that thing, you're binding bad karma, you're actually not in peace. So when we look at everyone, we all have the same soul. Every living, according to the Jainism, every living thing that living being is there, whether it's an insect or anything, has the same soul. When you look at, we are souls, and if you look at souls not as, Juhi or Vivek or anyone else, then that's where your love is. You're actually spreading, you're going beyond. We are way beyond, but we get stuck to small things. And I think the only difference is, if you don't suffer of losing something, you're detached. If you feel pain of losing something, you're attached. That's the simple term for attachment and detachment.
Thank you.
Before you say, I just want to say that, I think we all had given our views, but again, every religion is vast. We all have our history, it's huge, and at least I can say on all your behalf, I think some of these are our opinions and our views, our understanding of dharma, and because these religions are huge, there are different interpretations and all that, so this is solely our viewpoint. And we cannot share. This is huge. It will take days to actually learn the core. Within like few hours, I don't think we can. We tried, but I think it takes a long time to actually understand the base, to go to that level, because some of these things might just go off your head. Because I think because I've learned, I feel that you might get it, but so I'm just saying, I think we tried our best, but it's huge, and it's our understanding of what we think we said. But if you want to know, I think more, then you really have to study more about individual religions, I think. Very ancient, yeah.
More opportunities for new programming. New project for you, right there.
Thank you all so much for your insightful questions and even more your insightful responses to them. Right now, I call upon our team to give our vote of thanks for everyone. Thank you.
Hi everyone. So thank you all for attending and for engaging so deeply with the questions that we're going to answer here. I know I was touched and moved by a lot of the responses and by the kind of community we have here today. So we are going to have a reception downstairs. Please join us for refreshments. Please engage with the panelists and with each other. And thank you again to Chaplain Kathy Schneider, to our Assistant Chaplain Asher Kuliboy, to our Administrative Coordinator Barb Helmuth. The Interfaith Center is a really vital part in our campus community, and we're so happy that you all came out to engage with us today. Thank you.